Hi everybody. Today I'm going to work with the 8x10 view camera. I've got my big majestic tripod that I bought, I don't know, probably in 1979, and an 8x10 camera over here that I love to work with. This backpack has been with me since the mountains of Alaska years and years ago, and it's how I carry my 8x10 view camera around. In this pocket here I've got a couple lenses, a compendium lens hood, cable releases. Often in this pocket in the front, I would stick some film holders for the 8x10. And of course in the main pocket, I would keep the camera. Here's my dark cloth, which is white on the outside and black on the inside to limit reflection on the ground glass while you're focusing. And of course, here's my old Toyo view camera. This tripod is very sturdy. It has a platform head, and it's really stable for using large cameras. It also has levels on the side here, so you can level it, but of course I also have levels on the camera, and I can use those to level my imaging as well. Underneath we've got the thread here for a 1/4-20 tripod mount. Let me go ahead and put that on the tripod now. Open up the back standard, lock it in place, pull out the front standard, and lock it in place. Now, the distance that you want to expand these bellows will depend on the lens you're using. This is a Fujinon 300mm lens. It opens up to 5.6. It's in a copal shutter as well, and it's a remarkably sharp lens. So we're going to go ahead and set this up and do a quick photo outside to show you how to use the 8x10 view camera. That's on the lens board. I'll put the lens board in here and lock it into place, top and bottom. Okay, so we're just going to do something simple here that's easy. Let me go ahead and get this set up. Bring out the legs. The spirit levels on the side here are pretty close. I'll also level up the camera to make sure it's working. Let me come over here. And it has a nice protection on the back to protect the ground glass. Obviously take that off. So there's my protector. Here's the ground glass. I'll take my dark cloth and put it on the camera so that I can protect the ground glass when I'm looking at it. On the front of the camera here, you can see I've attached the cable release. I need to open the aperture up all the way to 5.6 so that I can look through the lens and focus. And down here, there's a little knob that allows me to open up the lens. And that's how you view through the camera. Okay. Later on, that'll have to be closed, and over here you cock the shutter. So if I close that, cock the shutter, use the cable release, that's what you get. But for now, I will open up the lens and make sure the aperture is all the way to 5.6. My focusing knobs are on both sides of the camera here, so we will focus the scene. and use the dark cloth to be able to view the ground glass. Make sure that your dark cloth is not hanging down in front of the lens, because of course you won't be able to focus. So if you can come around here and take a look, here's the scene we're looking at today, projected on the ground glass. It's upside down and backwards, as most optics are with these types of cameras. The purpose of the focusing cloth, it's really just to help you focus. It'll shade the ground glass, allowing you to see the glass better and create the type of focus or perspective or controls that you want. There's really no other purpose, but without it, it would be very difficult. Okay, so this isn't like it was in the past. I'm using my iPhone with an app called Pocket Light Meter, and I'm going to just take a quick light meter reading down the hall. All right, so the light meter program has shown me an exposure of 1/8 of a second at f/64. I'm going to translate those numbers onto my lens and shutter, and we're going to go ahead and take a picture. So here's my aperture, and I'm going to go ahead and move that over to f/64, like that. I'm going to take my shutter speed and move it up to 1/8 of a second. And down here, we have the lever to close the lens, so you can see it's open. Now it's closed. I'll go ahead and cock the shutter. And now once I put the film in, all I got to do is click the shutter release. Just like that. So let me go ahead and cock the shutter again. And let's put the film in. Here's my film holder, and as you can see, there's a white side, and there's actually some texture on here where you can feel bumps. And on the other side of the holder, you can't. So once you've taken a picture with sheet film, you flip the dark slide over. I'll show you that in a second. Let me go ahead and put this in. Come around back so you can see this. So I'm just going to slide film in. Make sure that it's centered properly. We don't want light leaks or anything like that. We know that we closed the lens, so I'm going to pull the dark slide. A lot of things people do, sometimes they shade the lens with it or whatever. Often I'll just sit it on top like that. Reach around for my cable release. So I've already cocked the shutter, and here's my cable release, so let's take the picture. Okay. Now that I've taken the first exposure, there's the dark side of the dark slide and the light side. So this will go inside now, indicating that the film has been exposed. As you can see, I have an exposed sheet and an unexposed sheet. Just for the sake of safety, I will always expose 2 sheets of an exposure. Maybe even change the exposure slightly, but probably I'm doing this in case there's a flaw in the film or it gets scratched in handling or something like that. Using 2 sheets per image is a good habit to get into. So let's take the second photo. And that's how you shoot with an 8x10 view camera. It seems very complicated and unwieldy, and it certainly is heavy and unwieldy, but not that complicated. You have your projection here and your projector here. The lens projects the image, and it's on the ground glass. So it is really, if you think about it, one of the simplest camera systems there is. Lens, film. Put the film in, click the shutter. Old cameras, you didn't even click the shutter. You had barrel mount lenses. You take the lens cap off, then put the lens cap back on when you're done with it. So yes, unwieldy, a lot of extra work, but not that complicated to use. Okay, well, just for expedience sake, I'm going ahead and taking this negative, putting it on the light table, and making a copy image of it. Run it through Lightroom, run it through Photoshop, and I'll print it on an inkjet printer just so we can see a positive. So here's that negative that we just created. You can go ahead and make a contact print of a negative this size. One thing I did was go ahead and scan them so that I could print out 3 of the negatives created this week. I think you'll find that the resolution on these is quite extraordinary. The shadow detail on the 8x10 is far beyond any other type of film. Okay everyone, so that's my little introduction to the 8x10 view camera. I hope it makes sense, and if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them in the comments. I'm hoping that people will subscribe to this channel. I'll try and add more videos when I can. If you have suggestions of cameras you'd like to know more about, maybe I've got one, so let me know and I'll see what I can do. Thanks.